Hello, my name is Reverend Dae Zhang. I'm the organizer of the Belmont Zen Center in St. Clairsville, Ohio. I'm also one of the clergy members at Muddy Water Zen Temple in Royal Oak, Michigan. And I want to make a short video here about the physical demands of seated meditation and something that you can do that may help to make the process of seated meditation more comfortable. Last October 2020, we put out a video about postures for meditation, the different kind of seating postures that people can try and experiment with to try to find something that's comfortable for them, that they can maintain, that doesn't produce too much strain or pain in the body, because seated meditation is not a contact sport. It shouldn't be uncomfortable, it shouldn't be painful, unless it's done for a very long period of time potentially. It should be something that you can do calmly and peacefully. And one of the things that I said in that video was there's no magic posture for meditation. When you see people meditating, often, especially the demanding part is what you're doing with the lower body, and often they're sitting in a posture like this. This is what's called the half lotus posture. They've got one foot up on their thigh. They may have both feet up on their thighs in a full lotus posture. Statues of the Buddha are usually portrayed in this kind of a posture, but there's nothing magical about this. A posture that is comfortable but that you can maintain, that's stable, is going to work for meditation. And whatever your body can do, if that means that you have to sit in a chair because of problems with your joints or your spine or various other kinds of physical requirements or restrictions that you may have, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Any physical posture that supports the body and that facilitates what you're able to do with your breath and your mind is really going to work for you. That being said, there are some advantages to sitting on the floor in a cross-legged kind of a posture. It's very stable, your body's kind of locked in, it's easy to maintain an upright position when the lower body is creating this nice sort of milking stool tripod of the hindquarters and the two knees. It's a very, very stable position to be in. But depending on your flexibility, it may not be possible, or it may be very uncomfortable. It does obviously stretch the joints, the lower back, the hips, the knees, and often forgotten about the ankles as the foot is sort of pulled up. If these joints aren't very flexible, if the tendons and ligaments are tight, it may not be a posture that somebody can get in, or if they can get in it, it may just be a few minutes and they get really uncomfortable, or they may think they're okay until the next day, and then they suddenly find that they're very uncomfortable. Now, there are some things that you can do. There are a variety of exercises that can be done to stretch those ligaments and tendons, to loosen up those four parts of the body. Again, the lower back, the hips, the knee, especially the outer knee, and the ankle, especially, again, the outer part of the ankle, since that's where the stretch is kind of going. This is part of why it's important, if you're sitting in a half lotus posture or in a full lotus posture, to kind of switch back and forth which foot is on top, so that you don't end up with one side of your body very limber and the other side of your body very tight, which just makes things even worse. If you sort of experiment with these postures, you'll probably find that one side of your body is more limber than the other. It might be tempting to just take advantage of the limber side all the time, but that'll actually just make that imbalance even worse, and it's better to stretch the tight side and try to get the two sides more evenly balanced. Now, there are a variety of different exercises that you can do to try to help increase the flexibility in the lower body in ways that will make seated meditation more comfortable. And obviously, doing a variety of exercises that work the different parts of the body in different ways and in different directions is optimal. That's the best thing to do. But I do want to show you one exercise, one yoga posture, one asana, that if you're only going to do one thing, this is probably the best exercise to do, because it does work all four of those areas: the lower back, the hips, the outer knee, the outer ankle. You can do them all with the sort of one exercise. It would be better to add this exercise to other exercises have a more rounded program of how you take care of your body. But if you're only going to do one thing, this is the best thing to do. And if you're looking for an exercise to do to kind of warm up the body before you sit, this is probably the single best exercise that you can do to help that. It's what's called the reclining pigeon posture. That's what yoga teachers call it. It's really probably the best one in terms of working all four of those areas. So I'm going to demonstrate for you. If you lie down, and you don't need a yoga mat, but if you have one, obviously you can use it. Lie down nice and straight. What we're going to do is to work one leg at a time, one side at a time. And there are two different ways that you can do this exercise that put more or less stress on those four areas that I was just mentioning. Again, lower back, hips, outer knee, outer ankle. One leg at a time, and sort of two different forms of the exercise. What you're going to do is put your foot, this sort of curved part right above the arch on the outside of the foot. Bend one knee, put that part of the foot right kind of on the top of the knee. Instructions from yoga teachers sometimes talk about putting the ankle there. But if you put the ankle there, you don't work the ankle joint. So if you put the foot over just a little bit so that top of your arch kind of sits neatly right on the top of your knee, you can hold it there. If you reach through and grab your knee, you can just lift, as right here, obviously I'm stretching the left leg, lift the right leg. One way to do the exercise is to try to keep the small of your back on the ground. That puts more of the work in your knee and ankle, right? So sort of hold that posture. If you feel things loosening, you can pull in just a little bit further. This shouldn't be painful. It needs to be, go to the point where it's comfortable and then just go a little bit further, right? If you don't go a little bit into being a little bit uncomfortable, you're not really stretching things, and there isn't really going to be any improvement. So you can do the exercise that way, and then you can also roll up the lower back, let the lower back come off the ground, and pull your foot more towards the chest, and that puts more of the work in your hip and lower back rather than the knee and the foot. So by doing the exercise in both forms, with the lower back on the ground or with the lower back off the ground, you can balance how much work the four parts are doing, the lower back, the hip, the outer knee, and the outer ankle. And obviously you'd want to do this on both sides, right? Right foot on the left knee. First keep the lower back on the ground and pull in. And you probably want to hold this for, well, depending on your flexibility, obviously, 10 seconds, 10 breaths, 20 breaths. As your flexibility improves, you can hold it for longer. And then again, let the lower back lift, roll up, pull the foot up toward the chest. And you can see, as I said, one side's often more flexible than the other, right? Hold that position. Again, as you feel things loosen, you can stretch a little further. So that's a very good exercise to both improve flexibility in order to sit more comfortably, but also to sort of warm up the body before a meditation session, before a meditation class. Use that sort of exercise to loosen and limber up those four parts of the body. You'll be more comfortable when you're sitting. You'll be less likely to be uncomfortable the next day. And it'll make the whole experience of meditation one that's going to be more enjoyable, more comfortable, more natural, less damaging. From a lot of people, if they try to push their body into postures they're not ready to do, especially half or full lotus posture is a very good way to do real damage, especially in your knees. So it's really something to be very careful with if you're not very limber. But by doing this kind of exercise, you can improve that flexibility, make the whole experience a more comfortable one, which is going to make it more enjoyable while you're doing it, but also something you're going to be more motivated to do on a regular basis, which is a very important part of having a meditation practice, doing it regularly every day rather than just doing it sporadically. And if it's painful or uncomfortable, you'll have a much harder time establishing that regular routine. So I hope that this exercise may help you to find the practice of meditation to be a more natural and comfortable one that you're going to find yourself more dedicated to.